This week on Hermitcraft.
I'll be honest, that timing. Did you see that timing? He ain't ready for me, Lucia.
Welcome to the Hermitcraft recap. My name is PixelRiffs, our writer is LoyXP. Captions on this video were provided by Liara, and as the unofficial recap team, we get very excited when people team up. Because team-ups are where shenanigans happen, and this week sees a bunch of hermits adopting the buddy system to get stuff done, which is especially bad news if your name is The Wither. But it's good news if you have an ocean temple to dry out, a bunch of black dye to harvest, or the need to acquire some wings from the dark and distant void. So in the spirit of these dream teams forming on the server, grab a friend, a family member, or the nearest household pet, and let's take a look at all the events and mishaps that occurred on the Hermitcraft server this week. Starting with that ocean temple we mentioned, and the holographic person at the center of it, Gemini Tay.
This is perfect. Look at us.
I can't.
Oh, true. Sorry, my bad.
Once her original shop brings in any amount of money, Gem zeroes in on the next opportunity for profit, a Prismarine shop. Naturally, you'd first need a Prismarine farm, and it doesn't help that most designs demand you find, conquer, and drain an ocean monument. What does help is a bunch of Hermitcraft members coming to her aid at another Hermits Helping Hermits event. This is also where Doc M comes in with his infinite sand stash, but only in exchange for unlimited access to the future Prismarine reserves. Also, Stress Monster joins in as a more permanent business partner, so of course when it's time to place a glass outer shell on the perimeter, they chose a pink one. Truly outrageous.
Oh my gosh. Okay. This is gonna be good.
I'd say you can have the sand for free if I get free access to the farm later on and can make myself Prismarine blocks and stuff.
Joe Hills is just one of the helping hermits, and while he places a fair amount of the sand and clears a good chunk of the seabed, his other role seems to be as peacemaker for iJevin and Zombie Cleo, whose playful game of murder each other is kinda getting in the way of sponging all the water away.
Leo, on a scale of 1 to salty, what are you right now?
I am currently at all the salt in the ocean.
Oh my
and
God.
you're going to suffer.
Yeah, Jeff, maybe just let
Is
it
where I
drop.
am.
Why don't we let Gemini Tay sing the traveling song, since this is her Hermits Helping Hermits. She gets to pick a traveling song.
In exchange for curbing the violence between the two of them, they persuade Joe not to do violence to his own bank account by attempting to buy a Scottish castle. Joe, there's a reason you built 2 castles in the last 3 Hermitcraft seasons. It's because they're much more manageable as a digital offering.
Grian says the reason is you'd be obliged to restore it to the way it was, using stone masonry as close to the original stone as possible. Oh, yeah, that would.
Yeah, because it would be publicly listed.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Sounds like a pain in the butt.
As the last piece of sand falls on the freshly drained temple perimeter, Gem and Stress Monster can pat themselves on the back for a job well done, which they couldn't before because their backs were invisible. Stress's next team up arrives in the form of Iskall, and the pair go Wither Skull hunting in the nearest nether fortress. And if beheading all of those skeletons wasn't enough, Iskall loses his head in the process.
Ja, Iskall! Iskall man! Iskall man!
After cheesing the Wither for a beacon, Stress sets up a glass shop partnership with False Symmetry, and discovering the enchantee has sold pretty well, returns to her forest base to log all her trading villagers. And a giant log it turns out to be, with mushrooms growing from it and everything. It's a good thing these villagers aren't spawning loads of cats, or it might end up as a catalogue. Iskall's villagers are at least getting a balanced diet now, as he transforms a large patch of the hillside by his base into carrot farms for more trading options. He even manages to sneak a cactus farm in there, but not before going to explore more of the Omega Cave and tracking down a skeleton spawner that's directly under Stress's patch of the forest.
Oh, hello there.
After making the spawner usable for bones, he and Stress can now farm both types of skeletons, and Iskall cheeses a Wither of his own before heading out to the end in search of his first set of Elytra. The first end bust goes so smoothly that he tracks down a bunch more Elytra, then builds a sky island to sell them out of. It's a decent sales pitch considering anyone without an Elytra arrives with the inconvenience of having to swim up the waterfall, then gets to fly away once they bought one. Let's just hope he left an ATM up there. Luckily, this won't be BOO, though what he had to do for his set of wings is no better. You see, choosing an altruistic route for the season, Tango Tech decided to just give servermates the resources they need, but being Tango Tech, he only gives them at the end of some Jigsaw-esque trap. So to earn his potential 5 elytras, B-Dubs has to first prove he can stay afloat for 3 minutes in a tiny room with lava at the bottom and cacti at the corners. Sure, he's given a bunch of fireworks to help, but let me tell you that kinetic energy builds up pretty rapidly.
59, you gave me a stack and 8.
Gave you okay, I'm glad you counted, I didn't. Woo!
Okay, a stack and 8, I'm at 58.
Okay.
Oh, man!
No, no!
Man!
Tango's deal with Scar and Grian is no less Faustian. As promised, he's built a raid farm for the two, far above the villager trading hall they've been working on the whole week. But what they forgot in planning is that the raids will spawn on any block available, so for the farm to truly operate, they'll need to dig up all the spawning spots within the perimeter and flood them, all for good measure.
And then I can actually run the raid farm the first time. Hopefully it doesn't kill all the villagers that they've hooked up. That'd be bad.
In the meantime, Good Times with Scar and Grian hold up their side of the deal and keep conditioning the villagers into trading the right stuff at lowered prices. Though being a tad repetitive, it's a project kept mainly off camera in favour of thrilling developments like surrounding Mumbo's base with a copper wall, for example.
Now, Mumbo is taking a month off YouTube, so we fully support Mumbo taking a break, but does that stop us messing with him just because he's not here? No.
While these blocks weather the rest of the bunch, Grian moves to the Entity Shop, which steals a water wheel off his house in response. After this, it will come as a surprise to no one that it's Grian who starts the Secret April Fool's Initiative, which is like Secret Santa but with pranks, which just means on this server, it's like Secret Santa. Not that these people need an extra reason to prank one another, given that someone already waxed the words Sub Scar onto the walls of the copper box, and someone else already tried to swap it to Sub Grian.
We need to think of something else to put here now.
Scar's own project for the week is to trade with villagers, we already told you that, but also to carve up the rooms within the Elven Tree into something more resembling a home. Most of it comes out more resembling a stairway, but at least it leads to a neat storage room. You would think this would help with the future inevitable forming of a chest monster, but then the room itself is like being swallowed by a pile of barrels, so jury's still out. And while it's out, Scar sentences this one wither to not being alive.
Come on! Did he die? Did he die? Where is he? Did he disappear? Oh no. Oh no. Did he teleport? Can they teleport?
While everyone else is taking down eldritch abominations, Pearlescent Moon continues to build hers up, adding a fresh look to her alien statue and leaving it looking more like a bird-deer hybrid. She brings Zedaf, an equally rare and colourful creature.
So, the pink sheep is the gift.
Yes, but the thing is, it's not just a pink sheep, right? It is an Australian pink sheep.
Look at that. I love it. It's walking around on its back.
I would hope so,
It
right?
mops the floor for you. Why
It
wouldn't I want
does.
this?
After working on bridges connecting her house to the neighbourhood, Pearl decides more bridges are in order, so she calls upon Impulse SV and Gemini Tay to bridge around the outer end islands with her in search of end cities. The twist being that she challenges them to raid the whole dimension with only mushroom stew as food. Luckily for them, she'd already gathered soup supplies, or supplies, if you will.
No!
Bye!
No!
Hello, goodbye, hello! Look at those two little ants over there.
So much. I hate this so much.
It's definitely a surprise to Impulse, but he takes it in his stride. Getting hold of some wings is the priority, and the server is more mobile than ever with all those Lava Walker books in circulation.
Oh.
Knock, knock.
Oh.
Hello.
Are you coming to buy stuff?
No.
Oh.
Between the book trade and the raid farm, Impulse is sitting on a pile of cash and has plenty of time to help Tango out with the construction of a Wither Rose farm in the end. Now all the Wither has to do is not kill the chicken.
Yes.
No, it's a thing. Good job, dude. Good job.
The enchantment business is about to become a much harder sell, however, with the introduction of the community Enderman farm. Jevin and Wells Knight spend quite a few hours and Ender Pearls putting together an Endermite-powered Enderman raining machine. But the payoff is surely worth it, given that the end, haha, result is putting out enough Enders for entity cramming to kick in.
Well, sir, job well done.
Yep. Take a look at that. Just stand back here and just look at that beautiful.
Ooh, look at that baby. Look at it go, man. That's awesome looking. Loved your spider farm. It did great work. I was a fan of it, but we needed more.
So now we have a functional XP farm on the server.
Yeah.
Along with the teleportation pearls, Jevin takes care of the dire need for firework rockets about to arise with the mass adoption of Elytra. Though selling them out of a hot air balloon seems counterintuitive, Jevin puts a massive R for rockets onto the side of it, and I suppose he's blasting off again. The ones with no diamonds to spare on the luxury of flight may try their luck down below, at a man-made coral reef Jevin installs specifically as a treasure hunting minigame.
Okay, we made a mistake here. You can try the minigame if you spend more than 4 diamonds at his firework rocket shop. It's not free. It's free for rich people.
Any hermit can pick one chest in the multicolored reef and keep the contents, Pirate Voice sold separately. Jevin's other businesses are still pulling in the likes of XB Crafted, who, even with an abundance of diamonds, finds the pork prices too good to pass up.
We got it. Look at it. Look at it. Oh, it's so good.
And he needs the chops, along with the conduits, to expand the area below his base at spawn. The tinted glass also needs an investment of amethyst shards from Pearl, but he sources the coral and axolotls himself. Back at the cave base, XB digs out a slime chunk, immediately finds 3 other nearby slime chunks, and decides digging out the nether might be a better idea.
Corral? Why you murder Corrales? Corrales is good people, man. Like, come on, false.
After cheesing a wither of his own, he drags Corrales out to the end for a dragon fight and some end raiding, once he can convince Corrales to stop hiding from the Enderman.
Like, you know why it's not hitting them? Because you lacking the best bow guy on the server, which is me. I'm down fighting those guys down here.
Now in the wood business, it makes sense Corrales is this good at combat logging.
Did you see that timing? He ain't ready for me though, chat.
Though false symmetry proves herself way more clever and not only memorizes the place he jumped out of existence and digs a hole there to kill Corrales in, but also then lures him back into the place with his own loot, snatches his diamond pick, and blocks the guy in with obsidian knee-deep in water.
You can dig down, Corrales, you just can't dig up.
It still hurts less than being rickrolled by Iskall.
I just want to tell you how I'm feeling. Gotta make you understood.
Never gonna give you up. Never gonna let you down.
Maybe it's this singing that inspires Corrales to put a dance floor at his bachelor pad. One way or another, the discs earned in weeks past come in handy once the vibing room is complete and the floors light up in disco patterns. It should surprise nobody that Rendog is interested in the log business, although now he's headed off to spend time with family, he might not get involved with the production quite yet.
Plan here is that, Kay, you look after the shop, the way the shop looks, and I look after the redstone machine that is going to generate all the logs. In Season 9, we're going to do it proper. It's going to be sick. Yeah.
In the meantime, though, at least someone is still buying GigaPies, which means he has enough funding to renovate the basement. After that, he adds a graceful paddle steamer to cruise the Spawn River, so when he says he has the best pumpkin pie recipe this side of the Mississippi, you know which way to travel.
The server just looks absolutely magnificent. Oh my goodness, I love it, man. Look at this.
And while you're there, swing by the coffee shop Cubfan made and get the Garfuccino looking stuff. It should help you survive in lava. To help his drive-through coffee shop, Cub expands the netherwort farming operation deeper inside the hill he calls home. His brewing skills help him indeed. The fire resist comes out simply necessary where he's going, and where he's going is netherite mining. Dead set on accomplishing a full set of netherite armor, Cub chomps into the netherrack with a pickaxe, though despite the many lava scares, the only thing roasted ends up being the people who use beds for mining.
If you don't believe me, go and watch my ancient debris video. It'll explain why beds are so terrible.
Thank you for that, by the way. Because of you, I had to listen to Zloy rant for 30 minutes about how beds are better. Azumavoid gets a nice swig of the strongest potions as well. The application of the speed effect is quite unique. X is doing poke hole mining, but reaching down the 1x1 hole with his whole entire body. More of his methods are put into question after launching a harvest of his recent kelp farm instantly crashes his game. Still, the kelp is harvested, and X chooses to put a hopper minecart up to collect the spoils, as opposed to running around the ridge himself lest the swooping Slimebok arm bounce him off the server again.
It's always fun to see it chopping everything down. Oh! Oh god! What's going on? My game's crashed!
Hypnotized plays it even safer and manages to stay home for most of his episode this week, primarily occupied by decorating his starter house and making sure it's cozy and livable, bonus points for furnace physics, and double-barrel bedside tables.
I think that just makes more sense since we are going to be smelting things there, and having hot furnaces next to wood doesn't make a lot of sense. Just ignore that these furnaces are right next to the wood here.
Miraculously, Zedaf also finishes the insides of his base, somehow managing to gather enough quartz and calcite to fill in the walls of the cylinder.
Hey, who built this beautiful structure out here?
It was me, how dare you?
No, really, like, who built it? Like,
it was me, how dare you?
Alright, I'll figure it out later. That's fine if you want to play mystery games. Hi!
Gathering of rare blocks en masse actually becomes a much stronger point for him, now that one of his season-long achievements is to acquire every block in the game ever. The chest room housing them turns out much smaller than you'd think, but the sheer amount of things that exist in Minecraft is not, as Zed finds out as soon as he puts out a bounty for any block not yet in his possession. Azuma, Beef, and Tango take him up on the offer, and successfully disappear one of the 2 diamond blocks the guy had. Unshakable, Zed begins another long-term goal to dangle on a lead every animal he can and makes it halfway-ish before the end of the video.
24 mobs. There are some that we can lead, that we can't lead, for various reasons.
Vintage Beef invests in some fresh pork. In fact, most of Beef's week is spent discovering the miracles the other hermits have worked and politely asking if he can get a slice of the magic. The Ender and Impulse's raid farm come in particularly handy for the gift of experience and emeralds, respectively. Because a vast amount of Beef's time has gone into making a handful of new cards for his map art powered hermit card game, and you can see why when he loops us into part of the process. Building a card with 14 stacks of emerald blocks just to get the right colour green is dedication to the craft, and while terracotta provides a nice accent, it takes a while to clear up afterwards, which is why Beef is one of the many hermits to order a beacon double with extra cheese.
I mean, this isn't exactly the most optimal condition to hunt withers, but it's what we have available at the moment.
Most people might not want to move into a place with 9 square meters of floor space, but for BOO, it's just another way to flex his building skills. B-Dubs decorates floor after floor of his monolith with everything he needs to survive the early days of Season 9, from storage to armor to smelting to enchanting and a few home comforts, which make up for the uncomfortable moments like this one.
Are elves milkable?
With the monolith decorated, B-Dubs focuses on the backyard and beyond. Building some ruined arches that match the vibe Zombie Cleo has gone with, B-Dubs announces he's planning to create some dungeon and adventure experiences for the other hermits as the season goes on.
Hello, would you like to go on a quest? Woo!
And finally there's Doc M, who at least gives us a clue as to TFC's whereabouts.
And I was thinking, was that some random mine going on here still? You know, I thought it was an early game branch mine, but lo and behold, no. The original hermit himself, and the real hermit, TFC, actually lives down there. That's the entrance to TFC's base.
After remote transferring all his slime back to spawn, Doc shows us why he's the last person you'd want to draw your name in the Secret Fool's potluck. Because after silencing the ghasts he was storing up in the ghast catcher from last week, Doc moves them from the nether roof through the overworld and back into the nether below lava lake level. Loading them all into a redstone contraption and taking one last breath of fresh air before the chaos is unleashed, Doc starts up a machine with about 10 ghasts in it and has them all shoot their fireballs directly into his face. But the trick is that the machine holds them in stasis at the head height of the player, but not yet colliding with him, which allows him to punch them into the surrounding walls and use them to mine out netherrack in search of ancient debris. It's all fun and games until one of the ghasts hiccups.
How many guesses? Are we trapped here forever now? Okay, I'm just gonna click like an absolute madman. I'll have... Oh! What happened?
And that's about it for this week's recap. Our writer is LoyXP and my name is PixelRiffs. Captions on this video were provided by Liara. Don't forget to leave a like while you're still here and subscribe so you won't miss future recaps. Thanks for watching and we'll see you next week.